Come on in. We're gonna try something new today. Right now I'm just sauteing up some mirepoix and some butter and wine. And I wanted to saute it up so it becomes soft. And then as you can see, I put in about a half a cup of wine, has all dissipated. The wine has reduced, and all I have left is some nice creamy onions, celery, carrots, and a little bit of butter down in the bottom so that I have this ready to go in just a minute. So what I need the mirepoix for is my savory bread pudding. I've never made a bread pudding before, but it sounds so wonderful. My friend Vicky used to make a New Orleans style bread pudding with the bourbon sauce and all that, and it was sweet. Well, this one is a savory one. I thought, I want something a little different this year throughout the holidays that I can change up a bit here and there for whatever we're having. So this would be what I might serve with turkey dinner, but I might change it up to serve with a side of roast beef or a pork roast or even some fish as well. And so I wanted to go through it. So I tried it out. And the reason I have it in my casserole bowl is because once I got my ratios on my bread together, I didn't know if I'd have enough to fill up the bowl. So these are my baguette, which is the traditional bread that you make bread pudding out of. You have the day-old baguette, you cut it up into big chunks like this, and you fill it all up. And this is one whole baguette I have in here. But then I also wanted to have some of the flavors of the fall Thanksgiving style. So I went ahead and I added to this my herb seasoned stuffing. So that was about a half a bag full of that went in. And this has lots of seasoning in it. So I added that, and then I added half a bag of the Pepperidge Farm cornbread seasoning in there. So then I would have all three. I have my baguette, I have the herb seasoning, and then I have the cornbread seasoning, and all of that gives me my seasoning. But the one important thing that makes bread pudding savory or sweet different from a stuffing or a dressing is that it is made in a custard. You build a custard, you pour the custard over the bread, you allow the bread to absorb it, and then you put it into the oven and you let it cook, and then you take it out, cool it, and you serve it, and it's nice and soft and it makes a nice little side dish. So we're gonna try that today. Like I said, I've never done one before. So I'm making this, hoping it's gonna be perfect to take to a dinner party. And if it turns out well, I'm gonna make another one and freeze it and put it in the freezer and see what my family says about that. I don't think I don't know. Anyway, they're all about the cornbread dressing, the herb dressing. I don't know about bread pudding, but we'll see. So that's why I've put this in here. I wanted to make sure I had enough bread to fill this up, even if it sinks down. So there we go, we have all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and dump it into my big bowl so I can grease up my casserole. So I have a 9x13 casserole here that in a minute I will butter. So the custard is a milk and cream mixture with eggs that we blend together. Then we add our mirepoix to that. And we want to make sure our mirepoix and our butter is cooled significantly to be almost room temperature, because we don't want to cook our eggs. So we need to make sure it's cooled, and it should be cooled at this time. So I'm going to set this over here. And what I have in here is 2 cups of milk, whole milk, and then 1 cup of heavy cream. And then I'm going to add to it 4 eggs with the whites all together. And we're going to blend all this together. Now we do have cheese that we're going to add to it as well. So we have a nice cheesy substance. Now if you've done this differently, like I said, I've never done this before. So if you've done this differently, or you have suggestions of how I might improve my bread pudding, then do not forget or do not hesitate to leave a comment below. So then I'm going to whisk my eggs up here, and I'm going to pour them into my cream mixture here. And this is now our custard that we're building. And I am not going to cook this on the stove because it's going to be cold. Once I get my bread really well coated with this custard, I'm going to cover it and stick it in the refrigerator. It can stay into the refrigerator overnight till you're ready the next day. It can stay in the refrigerator almost up to a day, but I wouldn't go any longer than that because it does have raw eggs in it. But we're going to put ours in the refrigerator for 1 hour. And then from there, it's going to go into the oven, 350, to bake for an hour. So nice and thick. Look at that. That looks wonderful. Okay. So now my mirepoix goes in. And this is nice and cool, so my eggs will not curdle. And this is, like I said, my onion, my celery, carrot, and white wine, along with my seasoning. Now, I did not add a lot of seasoning to this because the bread is already pre-seasoned from my packaged stuffing mixes. So I did add in here a half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning and 1/2 teaspoon of table blend of Mrs. Dash, and that's it. I did not add salt, and I did not add pepper. But when I get it into the bowl and mixed up, I'm going to add some white pepper. So we've got this all ready to go. Here, I'm going to blend this together. Like I said, it's got to be nice and cool, so that's good. It's blending really, really well. As you can see, the butter is incorporating into the sauce, and that's what we want. And then I'm going to take my big bowl back over here. And I'm going to mix all this up. Now, this is kind of the same as when I do herb dressing, but I want my herb dressing a little bit wet, so I'm hoping this is gonna work. So here we go. Stay with me. We're gonna drizzle all this over, or drench it over, whichever way you want to put it. I'm scraping all my goodie out of here. I want every last drop in here. Okay. So now I'm going to mix all this together. And as you can see, it's well coated. Oh my gosh, that looks good. Very well coated. I actually have extra on the bottom, which is what I want. Because that baguette, I did cut the baguette into quarters, and then I cut my little cubes. I did put it in the oven on 350 and let it get dry, about 20 minutes, and let it get good and dry. And it dried up well. Now, if you have time, you can cut it up, and you can use all your day-old bread. If you want, you go right ahead. So here we go with that. Here is my white pepper. I'm gonna get a good grind on this. Now, white pepper is not sharp, but it is fragrant and gives nice added bouquet of flower, florally notes. So there's that. I'm going to do a nice little sprinkling of salt, and then I'm going to add my cheese in here. And I have a good, this looks like, this is about 2 cups of pre-shredded Swiss, half Swiss, and half Gruyere. My favorite blend for cooking because it's so stringy and yummy and melty. So that's going in. And it's already started absorbing. There we go. So I'm gonna let this sit here for a minute while I grease my 13 by 19 casserole dish right here with some butter. So I'm just going to grease it all up really, really well. Make sure we got it all going on there. So there we go, nice and greasy. Okay. Now we're going back in with our breadcrumbs. Fill her up. All our bread. Now, if you do cook this, once you cook it and you take it out and you totally put it in the, let it cool down totally, you can put it in the freezer and it can last 2 to 3 months. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna smash this down in here. We are going to cover this with saran wrap. Just like this. I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and hope for the best. It already smells so good and it looks good. And here goes our saran wrap into the refrigerator for 1 hour. Now when I put it in the oven, it will be covered in foil and sealed really, really good. Okay, be back in 1 hour. I'm back and I've got my bread pudding out of the refrigerator and it feels really soft. I've got a few firm spots on the corner of my baguettes, but mostly it feels pretty good. I don't have any runny liquid in the bottom. It's all been pretty well absorbed. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. And I'm not gonna stir it up, I debated that, but it looks pretty absorbed, so I'm just gonna leave it. Now what I've done here with all this foil is I want to seal this really, really well, and I don't have that super big foil. So I took me 3 pieces, I folded them all together really tight, made the seams really, really tight, and I'm gonna set this pan right in the middle. And then we're going to bring it up, and we are going to fold this together, and we are going to envelope it really nice and tight to hold in the steam. As I want this to steam really, really well. And this is the same thing I do when I'm making lasagna. I want it to steam. So there it is. And you have to be gentle with the foil because you can't poke a hole in it or crack it. All right, and then my edges on the end. I'm going to take them and I'm going to fold them up like a little present. It's going up there. There we go. Seal this end up. That's all sealed everywhere. And then I'm going to go around the edge like this. One last hurrah. There we go. All the way around. Everything is tightly sealed. Now this is going into a 350 oven on a jelly roll pan, and it's going to sit in there 350 for about an hour, about 30 minutes. I'm going to come rotate it and then we'll take it out and see how it looks. If it's, I'm expecting it to be very blonde on the top, so I'm thinking that once I unwrap it, we see how tender everything is, the cheese is melted, I may stick it back under the broiler for a few minutes just to get it toasty on the top. Here we go, off to the oven, and I'll see you back in an hour. We're gonna get our bread pudding out of the oven and unveil it and see how we did. There we go. So it looks very hot, and we're gonna see about this. I know it's very hot, and I'm gonna try to unwrap it without, so I'm sure it's going to be steaming. I can hear it bubbling. I'm starting to smell it now. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And look, the steam's starting to come out. Yay. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. And nice and toasty. I'm not even going to have to put it under the broiler. How nice is that? Woo! Don't get in a hurry when you're taking your foil off and burn yourself. But doesn't that look yummy? Oh my gosh. Well, I said I wanted something different and something I've never cooked before. So here we are, a savory bread pudding. So I'm hoping everybody at the potluck will enjoy this. But let's give it a taste and see how it is. Oh, I can see all the cheese is melty and it's still so hot. I'm just gonna cut a little piece. Now, for tasting purposes, I have my little plate here and I actually put some cranberry sauce on it that I made. And I'll put the link to that. I made a video on it last year. And then I do have a little bit of gravy here because you just can't eat it without cranberry sauce and gravy. Because that's how you would eat it if you were going to have it at the dinner table. So look how nice and crusty that bottom is. Oh my gosh, that looks wonderful. And it's soft and crispy on the top. Oh, that looks so yummy. Turn this a little bit. There we go. And here we are. I can't tell you how good this smells. I mean, it smells savory. It smells like Thanksgiving. Poultry seasoning and sage and thyme and all the herbs. So, first I'm going to try it without any condiments. And it is so hot, I think I'm gonna have to let it cool off a minute. But look at that. Oh my goodness. That looks so good. That is almost creamy. Soft texture, even the cornbread and the herb mixture melted down into it. Buttery. Okay. Go in with some cranberry. Then we'll add some gravy. Oh my God. I don't know if I can ever go back to dressing again. This is really yummy. Just something totally different, you know? For me anyway. If it isn't for you, let me know how you like to eat yours. I'm gonna put some, I made up some chicken gravy here so you can see how it was with the gravy, because that's probably how I'd eat it with whatever I'm serving it with, turkey or pork roast or maybe even beef roast. Oh my gosh. It's so good, but you don't need the gravy. If you don't want gravy, don't put gravy on it. But it's good. Let's go in for all three. Here we go. One big bite. Gravy, pudding. That is so yummy. You guys have to try it. And anytime you think, oh, I want to make that, I want to make that. I don't know how. Just read your recipes and get after it. You can do it. You can do it. See you next week. Bye.